Dashboards. At some point in our lives, we decided that to get things done, we needed dashboards. Everything needed an at-a-glance place where we could ascertain, through meters, knobs, sliders, and numbers, where we were headed, how much of what stuff we needed to get places, and how much of that stuff did we have. All in an effort to divine the future and project ourselves forward with confidence in data. But here's a question. Cars have dashboards, sensors, smart safety features, and yet, accidents have never been more prevalent. Unsafe speeds and driver inattentiveness are the main contributing factors to most accidents, and isn't that odd? With all the features and precautions, all on fancier dashboards, we're becoming stupider.
Oops.
So what's going to happen with tech in the law firm? Is a dashboard going to save you? Will an automated easy button avoid disasters for your practice? If you have numbers and metrics, will they guide your law firm into the future? Or is it the humans behind the dashboards that are really in control? That's what we're talking about today on Lawsome. Tech fixes in future law firms and the human stewards that are bringing us into tomorrow. Ready? Let's hit it.
Lawsome, the podcast for law firms. Powered by ConsultWebs.
Welcome back to Lawsome, the only podcast for law firms that has a dashboard for our dashboard report dashboard. We're here to inform, educate, and entertain the legal community on the latest in personal and professional development. I am Jake Sanders, the Golden Ghost, and with me is Paul Julius, the Ghost in the Machine. Paul, are you in my computer?
Yeah, man, but it was an accident, and I'm sorry about it. And if I can get out of here, I would, but it's right.
You're so little. I can see you.
I know. I'm waving at you through the USB slot here, man. Throw me a cable, bro.
Throw you a little cable. The internet is fantastic, dude. It is just tubes. You're in these tubes. We are in tubes right now to these people.
It's the weirdest thing. In all seriousness, when you think about it, like it's all numbers.
That is weird.
Yeah.
All right. Let's not think too binary and maybe get on a singular track back to the event horizon of what's on the show.
On the show today, we talk about legal practice management and then interview Patrick Vernallis from law firm management software company Bill for Time. Discover how lawyers are running the practice of tomorrow today. And then we fire up the question laser for 5 questions we ask everyone.
Pull up a plate. It's the Hot Takes Buffet.
The article today is from Wharton. The article today is from Wharton, the University of Pennsylvania. It's a business school, I assume.
They got a .edu domain, so it's got to be legit somewhere, man.
We are deep in their blog today.
I'm in everybody's blog. I'm in every computer at once.
We're reading an article called "What's Really Driving Disruption?" It's not technology. It's a sampling from their podcast with Talis Teixeira, who's a Harvard business professor, who explains why customer behavior, not technology, ultimately drives disruption. I found this because I thought it was interesting. I think a lot of people feel tech is disrupting technology and software, and all of these things are popping up out of nowhere, ones and zeros. But the emergence of a new technology is often cited as what drives the disruption of an industry. But that's not true in most cases. Talis Teixeira believes that startups disrupt established companies by decoupling the customer value chain and picking one aspect of the business and doing it better than the incumbent. So I was thinking about this, and I think customers drive the change and create opportunities to innovate. And if your innovations or tech fixes don't come from a client service, client-centered model, you're really just trying to managerially handle a problem rather than actually handling it. So you have to sort of think of what the customer needs first, and then that's where your tech and disruption, can come from. And so I'm thinking that Most business owners want it to be easier. So that's good. They want a dashboard. But most folks don't want to get the tech fixes because they're wondering what's the return on investment. If I can just write it down on a piece of paper, I can track my time like this on Excel. Why do I need tech? But really, if you don't use the tech to make your practice run better, you could be going against the best interest of the clients. And isn't there an ABA ruling out that if it's possible for you to have a technological solution that will make it less impactful for the client, or take some money off the total bill, and you don't use that technology, you're like walking things around and, oh, I'm sorry, I had to print it, at Office Depot, when you don't have to print it. You can actually be, grieved for those things. So that just popped in there, man. It's like, if you don't want to disrupt your business model with tech or whatever, you're going to get disrupted anyway, because the client's going to go to somebody else who's like, dude, I can't sit here and watch you write your billable hours on Post-it notes,
Yeah. Well, one thing I liked that you brought up when you shared this article was the concept of decoupling.
Yeah, I love that idea.
I thought that was kind of cool. Basically, they're saying find the activity where consumers are not fully satisfied, and that's the weak link in this customer value chain. And he says that's your beachhead. And it goes on. The key point of decoupling is not to replicate what established players do. One of the great examples in this article is Dollar Shave Club. Here's a guy, this dude didn't know anything about razors, the razor industry, any of this stuff. But he's just like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? So they offer something better and you steal away the customers, right? And he says the way that you do that is by reducing one of three costs: reducing monetary, reduce effort, reduce time.
Interesting.
So, I mean, these are things, we're not talking on this podcast necessarily about selling razors. But I think everybody who runs a law firm could understand reducing those three different areas, right?
Oh, and they're questing for things to help them get control of the overhead, find how they can track their time better. So it's interesting that we have Patrick Vernallis from Bill for Time, because their key core competency as a company is timekeeping, and that's what they're focused in on. And the most interesting part, and we learn it later, Patrick said the tech is half the product. He said the other half is all the customer support that comes with it, that the people that help the lawyers figure out how to use the tech better, how to run their firms better. And you point out later that it isn't just time. There's administrative numbers, there's firm metrics, there's all of these things you can track on one place. And it's odd because I'm doubtful about dashboards helping people, but a dashboard helps you locate the information, but it's up to you to figure out how you're going to use it in a personable way that makes it easy, and then in a way that applies personably to your clients.
Oh, so bingo.
I think Patrick Vernallis and Bill for Time have that figured out, and because he said the most important part is the customer support, and he doesn't go off about how cool the product is. He really goes off about the people that help make it happen.
And understanding, I think you really nailed it there about personalization. Is that I think that something that's unique about them is that they don't come in there and say, "All right, here's our thing. Now you must adapt."
Right.
They certainly understand. He really goes into this. It's a great part of the interview where he talks about they get to know what kind of management style you have and your firm has, and how these different things fit in, and what you need on a dashboard. Because otherwise, it's not going to mean anything.
Man, that's a great point. Yeah, and that's what it is. Your dashboard, you could have it, but it's meaningless metrics. You have to make sense of the data.
Yes.
And sense making is the true innovation, and that's where the ingenuity and application, and the possibility for you to grow your business. That's where it can come from.
Well, he talks about it right there. I mean, you can. He says point blank, there's things built in that they use for you to set and track different goals that are if you're talking about billable hours, that's revenue.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And if you're not tracking how you're engaging with it on a place where you can centrally locate at a glance what's happening, it's interesting because what gets measured gets managed, as you said, and that's the thought. But I think people are desperate for just some assistance. But the key to getting good assistance is knowing what you need.
Yep.
So it as you said, you like reductive stuff. It keeps coming back to who are you? Dina Eisenberg was saying, you have to identify your map. What's important? The legend. How do you move around this? What's meaningful to you? Nick Pavlidis, that was one of our early episodes. He said to define who you are. Yeah. Everyone has said, figure out what kind of lawyer you want to be. What's your future? What are you looking for? Self-reflection is maybe the key to tech working for you. And I think people are just ready to put on a robot helmet and just run out into the wind or something.
Well, and it's something that you and I say a lot too, is that your brand, your definition, a lot of that is it's based on those choices you make. Mm-hmm. How do you interact with your clients? Mm-hmm. Do you send them one sentence emails? Mm-hmm. Do you have a messaging app? Mm-hmm. How do you work out payments? Are you constantly in a state of stress because you're sending out paper invoices that people just ignore?
Yeah.
Or, is there a better way to these are all things that are gonna just snowball, and it can be a good snowball or a bad one.
It's very rare when the snowball's great. It's like, oh, it's an avalanche. Awesome.
If it was jelly beans,
it'd be hilarious, and we'd love it. But it'd be calorie dense. The point is, you got to know yourself if you want to make things better. So you have to know how to measure things. If that comes from tech, if that comes from just a ruler, if it comes from just a yardstick, you have to start figuring it out and, bringing some accountability and some numbers to it, but making sense. And Bill for Time does that. Patrick Vernallis drops the heat. He's a brilliant product manager there. He should be the chief business development, because I'm going to sign up for Bill for Time and I don't even need it.
Yeah.
So that's how good it is. So let's head to the interview.
Let's go.
Stay tuned for more goodness from Lawsome after this message.
Since 1999, ConsultWebs has been helping law firms connect with clients on the web, connect digital marketing success with firm success, and connect their business goals to proven strategies that help them get the most out of their legal marketing. Go to consultwebs.com to learn more.
And now, a Lawsome interview.
Patrick Vernallis is product manager at Bill for Time, the go-to choice for lawyers looking for an affordable, efficient, and easy-to-use legal practice management software. Patrick got his BA from St. Lawrence University, worked in the Pennsylvania court system as a docket assistant clerk and audio technologist, and now he brings his special suite of skills to the Lawsome podcast to talk about managing law firms and Bill for Time. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So talk to us about Bill for Time. What is it? Who's it for? And what makes it so special?
Yeah, so Bill for Time is a law practice management platform. It's web-based. You can access it from your computer, your phone, anywhere that you are. It's aimed at really any size firm, small, medium, big. We've got an offering for every level there. And I think what makes us really unique in this market space is, we've been around since 2006. We have a strong history and core competency with timekeeping tools, and that really is the foundation that we've built everything else on. So at every step, at every growth point, we're leveraging some of our core skills there, and I think that has really made what we bring to the table a unique offering.
Yeah, time tracking is just essential. Keeping track of the billable hour. So you built that around that core competency, which I think is is obvious. But it seems like in some of the research we've been doing, a lot of practicing lawyers aren't eager to embrace a technological fix or an easy to use dashboard or any of these things. Like it takes them years to figure out what's going on in Word. So how do you address those issues in Bill for Time? How do you help lawyers break through the tech gap? Like, is there onboarding, and do you provide training services for Bill for Time? Or
Yes. So we definitely have a lot of experience working with users who aren't necessarily coming to us with a tech savvy background. And that's okay. They're in the business to practice law, not to fiddle with their computers till the end of time. So what we offer is a strong onboarding process and then ongoing customer support included for free, no hidden charges, no gimmicks. You can call us and we'll pick up, and help you get what you need. And, as the product manager of Bill for Time, a lot of people think that role is strictly about technology, but it's really about service. Our product is a service. And I, say that 50% of what Bill for Time offers is our customer support. Whether you need to figure out how to do something in Bill for Time or just have a general question about how to use your computer to make the most of Bill for Time, our dedicated customer support team can help you. We've got, beginner users, we've got late to computing users, and we've got training sets for every different learning style. So however you need to kind of adjust your style to adopt the system, we can support you every step of the way. There is this tech gap. Especially for firms who are using a web-based tool for the first time when previously they were using slips of paper or maybe Excel. And we've got a clear path for adopting, features over time that will mimic their existing style. For example, like not every attorney is tracking their time contemporaneously, which we know is a best practice, but doesn't happen always in the real world. So we've got not just, core timekeeping functionalities, but these time tracking tools are mapped back to the different styles of these attorneys. So if you're someone like me who does practically all of their work at the end of the day, we've got a batch entry tool to help you fill in those time entries all at once quickly at the end of the day. Or if you want to do it in real time, we've got a multi-timer tool that's server-based. So if you're hopping between workstations or continue working from the office, then at your home, those tools are consistent. So whatever style you have as a timekeeper, we've got a tool that matches it in Bill for Time.
Yeah, you have just going through this, and I have to say, I found out about this because I met you at your booth at the ABA Tech Show, and you had these big monitors up there where we could go through, and I saw firsthand. I'm not a lawyer, and this was really impressive because of how much you can do all in one spot, and the time tracking and all that stuff is like the internal side, but there's more on the other side of it too that I was really impressed with, like the management side of thing. There's accounting, reporting, firm metrics, which really blew me away because it's like now you can start to say, hey, well, what happened with all this? Where did we make money? Did we lose money? There's a client portal. This does a lot. And I really think making it easy for clients is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Like Jake said, sometimes though we do run into that thing where people are like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm already on, Needles, and we use this, QuickBooks for accounting. This does it all. This really does it all. Is there anything super cool though? Is there something like something you want to highlight, or maybe a new integration or something that you think is really exciting that maybe has happened recently since I last saw you?
Nice.
Yeah, so I think one of the coolest features that we worked on this year was our performance targets. Now, backing up a little bit, when planning our dashboard, we were thinking about the personas and the types of users who would use the dashboard, whether organizationally, tactically, what have you. And every persona that we came up with has a competitive value to them. So with these performance targets, we looked at billable and resource utilization rates across attorneys and determined that, attorneys are competing with each other in the courtroom, maybe with each other within their firm, and most definitely with themselves, making sure that they're beating their goals that they've set So we created this performance targets feature where a user can set how many hours they expect to work each month, both as a resource for their firm and then straight billable hours. And they can track that in real time on their dashboard as they get closer and closer to surpassing their goal. And this feature's been out for about 2 or 3 months now. And in the tracking that we have, we've seen that users who adopt this feature bill more hours the next month. I mean, that just is your bottom line growing. If you're setting a goal saying, I'm going to bill this many hours, and then you do it, and the next month you set a higher goal, this is Bill for Time encouraging you to bill more hours and to make more money in a way that, the user's not even aware necessarily that they're competing with themselves. They're just
Wow.
trying to meet their goals. But at the end of the day, they're making more money. And this is the kind of feature we want to give our users.
Well, and it's weird because you wouldn't know if you were making more money if you didn't know where you were. Like you need to know these things, but I'm still a little bit wondering because this sounds amazing that you have all these things, but there are still people who have Bill for Time that are like, it just didn't help me. I just didn't know. I just was too much. Or like, they don't know how to apply the dashboard to the sensibility of the revenue generation of growing a business. Maybe they're just, do you think people will adopt this because they like technology, or is it because you need to grow your business? I think there's something that is hidden in all of those metrics where you're like, if you get into this, you can measure yourself and then you can grow and expand because you're measuring things. But if you're not measuring things, if you're not even thinking like that, no dashboard could help you. Do you know what I mean? Do you just have a riff on that? Because some people are like, this tech stuff just doesn't work. We hear it all the time. Marketing and advertising, it just doesn't work. And you're like, is that true?
Yeah, well, as you know how the saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. And another one of our core competencies is in Bill for Time is really strong reporting features. And so we wanted to bring that analytics from kind of like boring looking Excel table style reports to a beautiful visualized dashboard. And when we kicked off this dashboard project, we did have a legacy dashboard from before that was admittedly a little beige, a little dated. And so we didn't just bring forward the design, but we actually brought forward all of the existing analytics and data entry tools that we had before. So for a lot of our users, visually, it's been an adjustment, but the same functionality that they've already become accustomed to is available in this new version. And so once they can adjust to the new style, they can then grow into this dashboard and build out, if they're a manager, maybe monitoring for the different teams that they have, or if they're an accounting persona type user, build out, collections and realization tables right on their dashboard so they can see the information in real time without having to generate a clunky report. So it is something that we expect users to adopt over time. I don't think anybody's setting a performance target for themselves on the first day they sign up for Bill for Time.
Mm-hmm.
But once they become comfortable with the system, they can really maximize the effectiveness of the tools that we brought. And it really circles back to what I said before. Our customer support team is half the product, and we can train you up on how to use these users, how to make the most of the system, quick tips, tricks, and things that ultimately help you save money. So with the strong relationships our agents have with the customers who've come to us, it's something that, starts with the foundation of our core competencies, timekeeping, reporting, but builds, and that human touch gives our customers a way to trust that what we're giving them is going to help them grow and practice better ultimately.
Yeah, nice,
man.
Well, and I think too, I wouldn't say it's just Bill for Time, but like any practice management software or service or anything like that, if at a fundamental level you are not good at or don't do a good job of tracking time or don't understand how that affects different things, you have a bigger wall to climb than really anything could help you. Although this does show this does do a good job of showing you, like you just demonstrated,
Right.
How, what happens at point A is going to affect, point R. So that's kind of cool. But I'm curious, you've worked with hundreds of law firms getting Bill for Time right. So what would be your one piece of advice for lawyers who do want to get a hold of managing their practice and their time, but they aren't sure of investing money in a holistic, comprehensive thing? Like, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would tell these attorneys or law firms, know your style. And what I mean by that is if you're the type of person who's incredibly detail oriented and wants things on time every time, know that that's something that you're asking for. And when you're looking for software, whether Bill for Time or someone else, that software needs to complement your style. And I think with Bill for Time, going back to our over 10-year history in this market vertical, we've built different tools for everyone's different style. I mean, there's 5 ways to add time to the system just off the top of my head, depending on how that user, wants to track their time. So what I'd say to these firms is really know what style you want and what works for your practice and find a complementary tool.
Here's a question. Have you had somebody who came on board saying, oh, no, I'm not a detail person. And then they're like micromanaging it? Or have you had people maybe discover their style through Bill for Time? Or do you have a story or an anecdote like that?
Absolutely. So Bill for Time can be a catalyst for changing someone's style. And, some of our customers we've had over 10 years have gone from maybe a 1-2 person shop into a 100-person firm.
Oh, God.
Your style changes when you scale that much. Not only that, but there's so many different styles within the people who are working for that firm that we now need to cater for. So, the tools that we have are not so inflexible that you can't grow and change and still find a home in Bill for Time. So for a lot of our users, coming from, let's say, an Excel or pen and paper time tracking system, they are looking for an online tool that is going to be a catalyst of change for their business. They've recognized that the style they're using currently is inefficient and not serving them well. So they're looking for a system that has good guide rails or making sure that they're entering their time, billing effectively, collecting on those funds, running a business of practicing law. So, whether we are a complementary tool for a firm or an individual, or whether we're a catalyst of change for that practice, you can find a lot in Bill for Time that serves you, but it really comes from a starting place of knowing kind of what you want, whether that complement or a catalyst for change.
Ooh, Patrick, man, this sounds awesome. The website is brilliant. Paul, specifically, wanted to get you on the show because of this product. And I'm so glad we got a chance to talk to you. People want to learn more about this. They want to learn more about you. How can they learn more about you, Patrick?
So to learn more about Bill for Time, of course, visit our website. And if you want to learn a little bit about me or anyone else on our team, we do have a Teams page, and you can see, connect names and faces to the customer support agent that you're working with. I don't want to use the word family because it's a little kitschy, but we do take a personal stake in the success of our customers. And, there's relationships that I leaned on, having started at Bill for Time in a customer support role. Now that I'm a product manager, I still rely on those same customers who I helped troubleshoot an invoice 3 years ago because we have that relationship. And, that's, I think, one of the core strengths of not just the service that we provide to our customers, but what our customers provide to us in, staying up to date in market trends. And so as you kind of get to know us and get to know me at Bill for Time, we welcome you to just reach out and connect, and we're happy to explore more.
Ooh. And just to add on to that, Patrick, I do believe you have a free trial.
Yep, we've got a 14-day free trial. You can sign up on our website through your email address or give us a call at 877-245-5484. An agent will pick up right away